I would like to tell the story about Mike. Mike is a graduate of the program. He came to us from a homeless shelter. He was at a dark moment in his life where he was contemplating suicide. He was so involved in drugs and alcohol, had really taken over his life. He tells a story that he couldn't really communicate anymore. He couldn't speak without having to use. He couldn't live or operate. He had lost his wife. She died of an overdose. Just tragedy after tragedy. And he was, standing on a bridge looking down like, well, I guess this is the best route for me. And I guess God spoke to him and said, no, you have a purpose. And is so grateful that God landed him here because I cannot tell you the amount of prison numbers he said he's had. It's dozens and dozens of times. He has devoted his life to God, so he will tell you that first and foremost. And he is like a new person. Wants to become a youth pastor, wants to use his voice for good. So it really shows that someone at their most lowest point, someone that just had given up all hope, can turn their life around.
Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to the Profit on Purpose podcast, proudly presented by 5 Star Home Services. My name is Christian Rattin, CEO of 5 Star Home Services, and I'm super excited to bring you our Profit on Purpose movement. Today, I am joined by Elaine Bonner, the Director of Philanthropy at the Emerge Recovery and Trade Initiative. Hi, Elaine.
Hello, Christian. Glad to
How
be
are
here.
you? Oh,
I'm
thank
awesome.
you for joining
Awesome.
us.
Yes, thank you. I'm so honored to be your first interviewee. So thank you so much.
Well, you were definitely on a very short list. Obviously, you and I work very closely together on a lot of different projects. So you were definitely high on the list of people we wanted to talk to.
It's my pleasure.
Just to get us started, why don't you just share a little bit about your journey and kind of what led you to Emerge?
Absolutely. So I never envisioned myself working in the nonprofit world. So God definitely has a sense of humor. I started in the for-profit world. I was in retail where it was all about the bottom line and profit. And it really ate me alive, for lack of a better term. I would work day and night and I never could work hard enough. And total burnout in that industry. And interestingly enough, I began volunteering for an organization, and that led me into the nonprofit world. So you never know where your trajectory is going to go. So be careful you volunteer somewhere, you might end up working there, which is what I did. So I've been in the nonprofit world for 35 years now. Most recently at Chaminade Julienne, a Catholic high school, in their development department. Loved it, loved being around the energy of young people. But God was tapping me. I felt a little bit of angst. I had done it for 5 years. And he definitely tapped me on the shoulder and said, maybe you should consider a new path. I read about Emerge and I wondered if that would be something that I would be good at. So I reached out to the team and here I am. 2 years later.
Yeah, and you were with Emerge in very early days. What motivated you kind of to take on your current role?
I guess I've always been a helper. I want to help people. I was a little concerned. I did not know the substance use disorder world. And the person at that time is like, Elaine, do you like to help people? I'm like, yes. That was it. That was my that's all I basically needed. And I'm a hard worker and I've been a connector in our community for a long time. So I've really been able to build on the resources that I have and go back to these people and share this wonderful new mission that it's incredible. Changing people's lives. There is nothing better than aligning others to give money for changing people's lives, the course of their lives. So it's an honor to be a part of this mission.
It's amazing. Emerge holds an extremely special place in my heart. Can you just tell the audience a little bit about Emerge's mission and the work that you guys are doing?
Absolutely. So we empower people seeking recovery to rebuild their lives through transformational and vocational pathways. And what that means is if you're motivated and you've been struggling and addiction is weighing you down and you have given up, then Emerge wants to embrace you, wants to give you a much needed second, third, or fourth chance, whatever it is. And they want to combine the treatment component with development and workforce skills in the skilled trades and other vocational pathways. So our model is so unique because we're treating the whole person, holistic approach, and on top of that, it's a faith-based approach. So people can um, you know, develop a relationship with their faith, with God, that higher power. And I don't want to say that to scare people off, but if you've never experienced the power of a relationship with God, this is the place to tip your toe in the water and see what that feels like. And if you don't like it, it's okay. We have other pathways too, but it has been a powerful force here. And everything that's happened at Emerge, there's so many God moments that we cannot deny his presence in our organization.
And I want to circle back to Emerge here in just a second, but I do want to throw you a little bit of a curveball if that's okay.
Okay, sure, do it.
Sounds like you've worked with nonprofits that had been well established, and now you
Yes.
get to Emerge and Emerge. Honestly, right? We can agree has a bit more of a startup mindset, a little bit more of an entrepreneurial spirit within the nonprofit world. How is it different? Joining an organization that was set up that way versus some of the established nonprofits that you'd worked with.
Well, I have let go of anything that's rational and reasonable.
You kind of
And
have to at Emerge, right?
yes, I have had to pivot my thinking, and I am a dreamer, so I think it's been an exciting ride. But I also put in structure and organization to being a dreamer, and I've let go of that a little bit and really embraced the entrepreneurial spirit. I appreciate that three men founded this organization with their faith and with a dream, and it has taken us in places that other organizations could not achieve because of that entrepreneurial spirit, because they move fast and they figure out a way. And, we're not beholden to anyone saying you can't do this. So there is a lot of freedom in knowing that we are able to dream so big. Um, all new ideas are welcomed. But then once we take the idea, then we need to put some structure to it. So I think I've been able to teach the founders about the nonprofit world. There's ways that we need to maneuver. And so it's been a teaching experience on both sides.
Would you say that Emerge and kind of the model of going after strategic partnerships in the business world and leveraging those partnerships to really help, establish and build out the nonprofit, is that kind of traditional in the nonprofit world, or is this also something that they're kind of being innovative with?
I mean, you always want partnerships. Any nonprofit can't do everything themselves. And so I think that's the danger of those who think they are going to be everything to all people. Each nonprofit has their subject matter experts and people that they can bring into the picture. For example, yesterday I met with Sinclair. They have a reentry department. And so bringing in that partner, I was opened up to a whole new world of who they know and how they can be a benefit to Emerge. So we want to embrace these partnerships, and people are so willing to kind of jump in and support us and share what they know. It's not a myopic vision of we are going to do this and we can't bring in people to help us. We have a lot of partners on this campus. Another one is Miami Valley Career Technology Center. They teach our residents skills and help them get their GED. So Emerge doesn't have to do that. We have a partner in helping us along the way.
Well, that's a perfect transition. Tell me a little bit about what makes Emerge's recovery program different from kind of the standard recovery program that most people are familiar with.
Right. So we have three levels of treatment. It starts with partial hospitalization program, and I know that's kind of a big term, but it entails more counseling on the front end, about 20 hours of counseling a week. So the residents that come and live here, that is their focus. It's getting healthy. It's not about doing anything else. It's learning what they need to do, how to handle their anger, but just how to progress in their recovery treatment. Then we go to individual outpatient programming, and then there's an aftercare component. So when people are progressing through their recovery, what is great about Emerge is that we're going to be interwoven life skills and educational skills and vocational pathways so they can start learning, what is it that I want in life? What am I good at? And the beauty of it is that we have these partnerships right here on the campus. We have the Trades Institute, which is a for-profit trade school that's highly involved with Five-Star Home Services, where they can just walk down the hallway to attend the trade school and get certified right now in heating and air, and we're getting into plumbing next, and a host of other certifications are coming. But we are definitely overcoming barriers for people who think they can't get these certifications. First of all, living on the Emerge campus, it's right here on site, so people don't have to go anywhere. And then the other thing that we're doing that is so exciting is that we are building just a list of second chance employers that are willing to hire those who go through our programs. And I know Five Star is really a leader in championing the whole second chance employer movement. So we have a lot of those employers on our campus and then in our community. So we are really, we're solving these two major societal problems, and that is the lack of skilled workers. Who's going to take over? There's not enough people going down in these trades, and then the ability for people to succeed in their long-term recovery. So we're not just talking about a quick fix here. We're not talking about 30 days, you're done. We're looking at the long haul and what it's going to take. And it's those sustainable skills. It's giving someone a good paying job that has room for advancement. So that's where Emerge is definitely, I think, going to be a leader for this new kind of treatment in substance use disorder.
I mean, I feel like you're like pushing the soapbox towards me, and like you're trying to get me up on the soapbox. I'm not going to take the bait,
Okay,
but I will
not yet.
say you're absolutely right. If we are ever going to truly solve at any sort of scale the drug and alcohol epidemic that we are facing, addiction epidemic that we are facing, it is not going to be just recovery centers. It is not just going to be churches. It is not just going to be businesses, but it's going to be all of these people working together to find solutions, because this is such a massive problem and such a complicated problem. And when you start to unpack it, it's so big.
Absolutely. And honestly, I've had to overcome my own stigma. Everyone has their preconceived notions. This issue has not affected my life personally, and I'm grateful. But now that I'm learning about it, and I'm sharing this with a lot of people, it's not someone shooting up in the streets that's a drug addict. First of all,
Right.
we don't want to call people addicts. They're human beings and they have a disease, and they cannot move forward without treatment, much like a person with cancer needs treatment. So those with this disease need treatment, and we need to be a little bit more kind and gentler and accepting. And I have seen now that it can happen to anyone. So I'm really trying to spread that message as well, that the second chances are so important, and no one wants to be defined by their lowest moment in time.
At Five Star, we like to say that we give second chances like 9 or 10 times.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Um,
And that's what it takes. I mean, we have had people come here that have been in and out of dozens and dozens of treatment facilities. They've been incarcerated, and they come here, and it's like they start to bloom. And emerge is such a great word because they are actually coming to life here. And what an incredible thing to witness.
you actually perfectly teed me up for my next question, because what I was curious to ask you about is what kind of feedback are you getting from the residents who have had experience at other treatment centers? I was sure that, with the recidivism rate so high, I was sure you guys were getting people that have been to multiple treatment centers. So what's the feedback from them on the specific program and how you guys are bringing them through the process?
Thing they talk about is how they feel cared for here. So that really goes to our team and our staff, treating them not like an addict, treating them like a human being with respect and dignity that they deserve. So, first of all, you walk into that environment, you're like, whoa, what's going on here? People like really care about me. Is that possible? So I talk about these three things. Everyone, and this is for all of us, we just want to be seen, heard, and loved. And that's what we're doing here. And it's so simple, but then it doesn't always happen, does it? It's just really it, it's what we're called to do is how I look at it. It's how God treats us. If we mess up, he's always there for us. So that's what people talk about. They come here, they feel that immediately, and then they're given different pathways so they can do the 12 steps or they can try the faith-based approach. Interestingly enough, we also have a church on this campus that some of our residents are attending. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but people can try it out and they can see what faith is all about. And then there's other opportunities. So I think we're giving people the necessary tools to grow as a whole person, to grow in their mind, body, and soul. I could go on and on about the other amenities here as well. Just, we're in nature, we're in 45 acres of nature. That is so unique. We don't have the temptations of being in a city where, as a drug dealer up the corner, like, oh, look, I have a whole hotbed of people that are just, coming in and out of this building. We're a little bit removed from that. And then the nature setting, just in general, is so restorative. There's a 4-acre pond here. Guys love fishing. We put up a pavilion last year where people can sit and overlook the lake. It's so tranquil, and that alone is part of the healing process, just being out in nature.
It's awesome. Could you share maybe one or two success stories from Emerge since you guys have launched?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been in operation for just 6 months. So just keep that in mind. It's a new program. We started the end of June with 15 guys. Okay. We are now at capacity with 50 men residing at Emerge, and there's a waiting list. So I think that should tell our listeners a lot about the success right there. And some of our biggest champions are the guys that have been through it. They tell their stories, and word travels fast that, hey, this is a place you want to look at. But I would like to tell the story about Mike. So Mike is a graduate of the program. He came to us from a homeless shelter, and they identified him as someone who was motivated to change his life. He came in and fit in so well. He started working out, he started running. So we know how healing it is, to actually work out as part of your recovery. He took that to heart. And I think he just took in everything and is so grateful that God landed him here because I cannot tell you the amount of prison numbers he said he's had. It's dozens and dozens of times. I got to hear his testimony at the homeless shelter, and his judge that actually let him go out on community service was there. And I think that says a lot about him as a human being, that the judge who gave him that reduced sentence appeared for his testimony. But he now works at Emerge. He is part of the maintenance team here. He is grateful to be working in maintenance. Like, who's going to say that? Hey, I love mopping floors and cleaning toilets. He goes out with me to speaking engagements. He has devoted his life to God, so he will tell you that first and foremost. And he is like a new person. He was at a dark moment in his life where he was contemplating suicide. He was so involved in drugs and alcohol, had really taken over his life. He tells a story that he couldn't really communicate anymore. He couldn't speak without having to use. He couldn't live or operate. He had lost his wife. She died of an overdose. Just tragedy after tragedy. And he was, standing on a bridge looking down like, well, I guess this is the best route for me. And I guess God spoke to him and said, no, you have a purpose. So he did not make that move, thankfully, and wants to become a youth pastor, wants to use his voice for good. So it really shows that someone at their most lowest point, someone that just had given up all hope, can turn their life around. And it's a blessing that I have met Mike. I've learned so much from him. So, it really goes both ways. And I am trying to give him a voice now because it really helps him to tell his story. It's powerful.
Well, I was so thankful to get to hear his testimony personally, and I know our entire company was when he came and spoke to us at our company end of year event. And I can tell you, there was not a dry eye in the places he was talking, and he got a roaring standing ovation at the end.
For
It was
sure,
very
for
powerful.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
and it takes a lot of courage to admit that you basically screwed up a big portion of your life, and I think it opens up people's eyes that we've all stumbled at some point to some degree, but there is God forgives us, and there's a new path, and there's people to help you, and that's what Emerge is about. There's people to help you here. If you want to change your life, they're going to embrace you and help you along those pathways. Another cool thing about Emerge is that we have a robust peer support recovery program. So people that have walked this out, their recoveries are now helping other people. And so we even see like a full 360-degree movement here where people like Mike could then be peer support recovery specialists, or they could get some training, and we see them coming back as mentors and giving back. So we're just creating such a great, caring community here, and that's really exciting.
is just something so powerful about one person who's walked that journey out, talking to a person who's currently sitting where they used to be, and something that transcends what a doctor or a judge or even your family member or your spouse or even your children, the words that they say, when you can see it, because somebody who's been in it, talking to somebody who's in it, there's a connection there that doesn't happen outside of those two people. So
Oh
it's
yeah, it's
so
so
it's so important.
authentic, unreal, and talk about full honesty. Like when someone says, "I know what you're going through," they actually know. Another great story is Kent. So Kent is part of the Trades Institute. He is so excited to be an HVAC technician. He is smiling now, and he had a similar story of being at such low points and dealing drugs and using, and he is now kind of a leader in the men's area. He's been there a little bit longer, and people can see his progress, see him going to school, see him learning. We've got 6 guys attending the Trades Institute right now, which is great. And Kent actually thanked me a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about at kind of an all emerge event what we're all grateful for. And he said he was grateful for me. I'm like, what did I do? He said, you made me share my story in writing, and people have come up to him afterwards and thanked him. So he didn't really know that his story mattered, and now he feels so good about it because even people reading those words have been impacted.
Wow, it's amazing. Before we close up, and I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to tell people, how they can get in touch and get active at Emerge. I just want to give you an opportunity if there's any final thoughts that you had or anything that you wanted to share.
I guess I'm just grateful, that God led me here, and the tenacity and the vision of our founders cannot be overlooked. So just, shout out to Chris Adams, Doug Van Dyke, and Kip Morris. All of their companies are on the campus here. They all struggled in their life. They all went through, years, and some of them a decade or more of substance use disorder. And, you know, their life wasn't going in a great place, but are now using their stories and how someone gave them a second chance to give back. So I think it shows the incredible power of individuals coming together. This is not a big agency. This is not, government force. It's not, it started with 3 men. So I want to encourage people listening that, you know, the power of someone just coming together, like, don't think you can't do something big. And it doesn't have to be a big ordeal like Emerge, but just being a force in someone's life, helping someone, being a mentor, checking on a friend that's struggling, like all of those things are so important. And just listening and caring, that there's just so much power in that. So I just want to encourage people that we can all do something, something small. When we all do it together, adds up to so much.
Oh, it's amazing. So for those listening who may be interested in supporting Emerge, how can they learn more, get involved, or contribute?
Yeah, definitely go to our website. It's emergerecoverytrade.com. When you get there, you can immediately sign up for our newsletter, which goes out monthly. So I don't inundate you with a lot of emails. We did do a few more at the end of the year just because we had some great stories to share. And I have to tell you that our open rates on our end of year emails were fantastic. So I know people were hungry to hear those stories. We shared some three-part stories. But yeah, go and check out our website, emergerecoverytrade.com. And you can learn more about our programs there. I'd like to give out my phone number to contact me directly. We are working on some volunteer opportunities. We have events coming up. I can always find a place for people to help. Come in for a tour because anything that we say here, you just cannot envision the size and scope of what we're doing. We're in a 240,000 square foot facility on 45 acres. So you really have to see it for yourself. So my phone number is 937-974-6120. And I guess I would just encourage people to, the power of supporting someone through that second chance. If anyone is able to give a small amount monthly, even $10 really adds up. And I just want to share really quickly how the five-star employees are doing that and what that looks like. So, as part of your day, you were talking about when the five-star team all came together, we put together, you know, where they can give through their payroll. So, automatic payroll deduction. And a high percentage of the five-star team, which I believe we have like 200 employees, are giving back to Emerge. And I'm talking a dollar, $5, $10 out of their paycheck a week. No one's really going to miss that. There's one coffee, that you're not going to have. And that has added up to over $30,000 on an annual basis. And it's growing with five-star matching that. That's a $60,000 gift, everyone, to Emerge. So I encourage our community to come together in the same way. Hey, a $10 monthly gift, or maybe you have the capacity to give more. It is going to change a person's life. And for me, there's no dollar value that can be put on that. And seeing it firsthand now, it's like I am a believer in the power of second chances. So I'm encouraging your listeners to just go to our website. You can give online, give me a call. I'm happy to share so much more with them.
Ah, so powerful. Any events or initiatives, anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
Yeah, so each year we have a signature event. It's a little bit off in the distance, but I would love for people to save the date of October 19th. Our event will be held at Emerge. So you're going to be able to see the campus yourself and view some of our renovated spaces and spaces to come. So we are by no means done with what we're doing here at Emerge. Our men's recovery housing program opened in June. It was a $1.85 million renovation. So we have plans to help more populations rebuild their lives. We would love to help women who don't have as many options for recovery housing. And we would love to help former foster youth who, at age 18, many of them end up homeless. So we know these are populations that need our services. This is going to take a great, multi-millions of dollars. And so when we bring people together at our events, they learn about this and they help connect us to people that can hopefully help us continue to raise large dollars. So October 19th at Emerge in Xenia, save the date. I'm looking for sponsors to help sponsor this event. So please give me a call. I'm going to give my number one more time, 937-974-6120 to join this movement. We would love to have you be a part of it.
Elaine, thank you so much for joining us, taking time. I know how busy you are trying to raise money and bring awareness to Emerge. I just want to tell you on a personal level, I am so inspired by you and so grateful that you found your way to emerge, because it meant that you found your way into my life, and
Oh,
you are
thank you,
somebody that I
Christian.
care so much about, and I'm so thankful every day that I get to spend time with you and work with you, and just seeing your passion for this project just comes out of you so obviously, and you're such an amazing steward of Emerge. So thank you so much for coming on and spending time with us.
Oh, Christian, thank you so much. And you inspire me as well, and your team at Five Star. And, Five Star hires those who need the second chance, who are in recovery, who've been incarcerated. And the way that your company cares for them is unbelievable. So, you lead by such a servant leadership model as well. So, together, it's a powerful force of what we can do, all of us together.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to post your phone number everywhere we can on social media. You're going to get so many phone calls.
Sure.
We'll
Text me
post
day or
your
night. Yeah.
email. We'll make sure that we get that out there so that people can get in touch with you. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to give us a follow and leave a review.